Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the chapel this afternoon, and you're very welcome to join us for this little choral open day that we're holding today for you and also for some people online. Do come as close as you like. The closer you are, the more you're involved you'll feel. We'll get the singers up on the stage in a second. I'll just ask the current chapel choir to sing something for you. So you may hopefully, perhaps have heard the choir on the radio last week. Last week we had a live radio broadcast on Radio 3, and we started with this piece. Thank you. Well, we're here to show you today a little bit about what we're about, and actually particularly how we are different. This is quite an unusual place, and I'm sure you probably gathered that already. The building's quite eccentric, and the choir operates in a rather different way to other collegiate choirs in the country. First of all, this chapel is actually non-denominational. So within this chapel, we have Catholic services, we have Anglican services, but as far as the choir is concerned, actually these days, our main focus in the week is giving a concert performance. And a lot of the work that we do these days is focused on performing to the public, performing to camera, performing to people live in the room, and doing a lot of commercial work as a result of that. So really, it's all about preparing for the real world of music making. And what I hope we can just show you a little bit of today is that actually performing is quite different from singing in the choir stalls, which we also do, but that's why we're standing here today rather than in the stalls. So in the stalls, we elevate the liturgy with our beautiful music. When we're here on the platform, we have to communicate so much more and absolutely face our audience. And that's perhaps a different experience for many people. So look, I'd like to invite all of those people who are here to sing and to come and join us. Please come up onto the platform and mingle with our very friendly choral scholars. And if we could form basically a big semicircle going round the back of the altar. Behind, yeah, unless you want to push. It's probably better to go behind, we can get a good round. So let's, okay, so let's put the basses in the middle. And then the tenors, altos, do you want to come to this side and sopranos over this side? So this might be a little bit of a squeeze. Let's squash up as much as possible here. Right, let's move round. In fact, you could sort of, oh no, sort of block the view, do we? That's okay. Do you want to come around a little bit more, just so we can form a bit of a, do you want to come this way a little bit more? Come on, let me show. Good, have we got Victoria's O Quam Gloriosum? So this is a piece which we might well have sung in this last week for All Saints' Day, O Quam Gloriosum by Victoria, Oh How Glorious Are the Saints. In fact, we didn't sing it this week, but it may be familiar to some. So we're all kind of in the same boat here. There's nothing that's been rehearsed. We're all just going to pick this up together. Okay, I think it's an A, isn't it? Should we see what happens? Can we just think of a few terms to describe this piece? Just describing it to somebody that doesn't know anything. A few adjectives, anything. Boring? I hope not. Anything, folks, come on. Yes? Glorious. Yeah, that's quite a hard term to put in a box, isn't it? Joyous. Okay, what makes it joyous? Celebratory. What makes it celebratory? Maybe. It's lively. Yeah. What's making it lively? Constant movement, I think, is quite a good thing. Yeah. So there's a lot of energy in this. I mean, actually, admittedly, I do it faster than quite a few people, I think. But I think that energy is quite important. There's a very clear pulse in this, and whether you're singing on the pulse or there's quite a lot of syncopation, so things going against the pulse. Okay, so we've got energy that we're actually sort of bouncing off each other. So let's think about that now if we do this unconducted, because you don't need me. What's more important is that you feel the pulse, you feel the rhythms, and you feel how all of that connects to each other. So, be not afraid. Take a breath, everybody, at the beginning. And you're just gonna go for it. If I give you the note, you can basically remember the tempo because we've just been singing in it. So audible breath, chorus scholars know what to do. conducted because there's not a lot going on at the beginning. But you need to set it up for the rhythm that follows. So when you get to the Quam Glorio, if you sing Quam Glorio and it's all legato, we lose any energy. So Quam Glorio, just go from that bar. Dee dee dee, is it a minor chord? I can't remember. Yes. Quam, quam, quam. Let's breathe together. Dee. Quam Glorio. Yeah. Good. So if we want to make the piece glorious, maybe that's the moment. Quam Glorio. And then I think from there, everything will take care of itself. So now at the beginning, take that audible breath. Maybe don't sing quite so loud, because then you've got room to grow. It's quite an unusual start for Vittoria. Any other piece might be O Magnum Mysterium, if we know that, and that's painting a very different atmosphere. This needs to grow from something that seems like it's going to be a bit static, and suddenly comes to life. Yep. So, let's take that breath again, folks, and focus on bringing that alive when we get to Quam Glorioso. Red flag is going up. I wonder if any choral scholars remember why. We did this 2 years ago, I seem to remember. We like, before the whole year starts, we often take the choir away for a kind of boot camp for a few days, so that actually by the first day of term, the choir is a strong team, really good musical team. So 2 years ago, we took them to Buckfast Abbey, and by day 4, we recorded a CD, which has just been released recently, and it's quite good. Anyway, we have to work really fast. We started with this, I seem to remember. Anyone remember what we need to think about when we get to this bit, all these quavers kick in? Yeah, there's something that's going to help with that, which helps you to hear each other as well. Okay, these are rising passages. When the voice goes up, it gets louder. That's a natural thing. Da 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 da. So if you think the opposite, ya da 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 dee, all of those rising passages, just make them feel lighter as they go up. And then you can still hear what's going on. And then the whole piece doesn't just get louder and louder and dissolve into chaos. Which I'm not saying it was, but it could have headed that way. Yeah? So let's go from... Can you find, I've got bar numbers, yes I have. Bar 17, can you find bar 17? Should be a D major chord, I think. Dee, 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 dee. From there. Take a breath, folks, you can start yourselves, you don't need me. Once more. So did you notice when you come out of that passage with all the quavers and the rising things, then the tenors start this syncopation. And if the rhythm of that is to work, you need to listen and lock into that. And again, feel that you're bouncing these musical ideas off each other. That's what makes this music alive today, even though it's hundreds of years old, is the way we respond to it in the moment like that. So let's go to the same place once more, shall we? Dee, 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 dee. Take your breath again. Well done. See how you instinctively found the end of that note as well? Yeah, it's because we're all good listeners, and we need to remind ourselves that actually our responsibility, we have an individual responsibility to listen and to work together. So this gives me an opportunity to introduce a really important part of our core education here, which is working in small groups, one apart vocal ensembles. Because what you learn without a conductor, doing myself out of a job, but working without a conductor, we have to listen. It's a very different way of singing. We have to blend in a very different way because they're single parts. And then what that then brings to the whole choir is quite transformative, and I think. And it means that the whole choir, it's a bit like a large string orchestra feeling more like a string quartet. Yeah? So the more we rely on the conductor for all the information to be spoon-fed to us, the less good musicians we become. Let's have a couple of demos. So what about the quartet? I think you have Il est bel et bon. Do you want to just stand in front of the altar? That's a very characterful early French madrigal. Actually, we used that at the beginning of this year with the whole choir, but actually getting the whole choir to compete with each other for who could be the most sort of outrageous in terms of communication. I hope a little bit of that is coming out. I know, ideally we do these things from memory so that we really are singing to camera, singing to the audience. Great. We have an octet as well. So at the moment we're working with amongst the choir, we have a quartet, a quintet, and an octet. So you, I think, have a piece of Pearsall. So this is sort of Victorian mock madrigal style. Good, thank you. So, singing secular music is quite important to us, and because we're singing quite a lot of concerts, we have the time to be able to sing more secular music than other collegiate choirs. And we record quite a lot, or certainly have done over the years. And I think there's a lot that we sort of learn from communication, obviously, with that sort of music. So why don't we all have a sing-song through Early One Morning. Let's set this up differently. If you stay where you are in the back, sopranos, if you come in the front, let's make this a little bit more like a concert. Doesn't really matter. I mean, there's no prizes for presentation today. Early One Morning. Yeah, do you want to go up a level? Just basically come in, folks. Let's just sort of crowd the platform. Do we need to help in sharing, or have we got enough? Oh, there, hang on. Okay. There we go. So a few years ago, we made a CD of the lovely music by Ben Parry, beautifully written pieces, including this folk song arrangement of Early One Morning. So let's have a read through this, everybody. You don't need me. Yeah, so we could hear the ensemble wasn't always working there. We had to be careful when we have a lovely tune that we just don't become in ourselves and forget that we're a part of a whole here. Sopranos, could we just sing your first phrase? Oh, don't deceive me. Can we do that? Yes. Good. Now, remember it's, oh, do not. Oh, do not. Oh, sorry, was it? Oh, don't deceive. Rather than, oh, don't deceive. Oh, don't deceive me. 1, 2.
Oh, don't deceive me. Oh, do not leave me.
Good, good. Now, this time, you must be able to remember that much, yes? Okay, good. Hannah's up in the... Hannah, how many people are tuned in? Hannah, are you there? How many? 12. There's 12 people watching here. Could you sing to the camera and sing from memory? Oh, don't deceive me. Let's have a little performance. 1, 2.
Oh, don't deceive me. Oh, do not leave me.
Good. So bear in mind that the difference between singing into the music and singing up, even just lifting your head just a centimetre or two, transforms the sound. So even when I know we're reading this, a lot of us, let's just try and get out of the copy as much as we can. Terrific. Let's go from the beginning again, gentlemen. This wants to be relaxed, doesn't it? And it felt a bit like, early one morning. Something you might casually sing in the shower in the morning. Yep. well done. It feels more like a performance now. Now, in this sort of close harmony style, we always have to think, what is our role? Is our role front of stage with the solo in the spotlight, or is it in the background? And if it's in the background, altos, tenors, and basses just here, make sure there's nothing sticking out. So you'll really kind of, gay the garland, really keeping the sound kind of here, not projecting anything, watching your breath control so it doesn't gay all the time. Can I just hear you, tenors and basses? Dee, dee, dee. Just be the best backing singers you can be. One. Fantastic. Good, and stagger your breathing so it feels like it's just seamless. And slower consonants as well. Fresh the roses, no hurry. Great, so you keep that sound, and now, sopranos, you're in the spotlight. So, okay, let's pick up on that little upbeat, and... Alto, spotlight. Tenors in the spotlight. Everybody is. Well done. Yeah. So as soon as you all have the tune, oh, don't deceive me, then we can bring the sound more forward, and the text wants to come forward. The text is the most important thing. Don't ever forget that. Okay. And then you're slightly more in the background as tenors and basses, and then you're really in the background, I think, from there on. So see if we could just make that sort of transformative effect, and then really listening so we get the ends together, which you nearly did without any help from me. So just give me that last, oh, don't stay 36, and...
Oh, don't deceive me, oh, don't leave me,
Good. Well done. Thank you, everybody. Good. Maybe this gives me a chance just to talk a little bit about the repertoire. So we've been looking at some sacred music. We've looked at some secular music, and that balance, that mix of music is very important to us. And I remember last year, we could have in 1 week, we're doing a concert in the Picture Gallery, Paul Phoenix of pop arrangements and this sort of style, and in the same week, bits of Bach, and thinking about performance practice and that kind of thing. So a really healthy balance is very, very important. So also, I think what is important is really healthy singing. And for me, it's important that the sound of the choir is the sum of its parts. And the sound of our choir will change from year to year. So, we carefully pick the voices that are going to work with us, and then that is the sound of the choir. And if we use our voices healthily, everybody's basically a soloist, and we don't need to change the way we sing necessarily, although we do need to have some flexibility. So when people say, what sort of person or what sort of voice are you looking for? I mean, the answer is simply somebody that's got some good technique and hopefully had a good teacher and given them a good grounding in breathing and supporting and having a good technique, which will allow people to be flexible. We might want a lot more vibrato because we're going to sing a load of Brahms or Bruckner. Or we might just want to clean up the sound a little bit more. We're going to sing some Tallis or something early. But healthy singing is important. And so even if we're facing several days of recordings, the voice shouldn't be tiring. The brain will tire. The physical mechanics start to tire, but not everything else. We have a vocal consultant, Mark Wiles, who has always managed to combine his career between being an opera singer, but also still singing, doing some church singing, and one of the professors at the Royal Academy. So very much an advocate of, we just use our voices properly, whether we're in the choir stalls on the platform or elsewhere. I think, that sort of grounding in flexibility and the sort of concert work and commercial work that we do really, really helps people to prepare for the real world. And whether that's the real world of music making, and we've certainly got our fair share of choral scholars that have left here, and basically any time that you see the 16, the Eric Whittaker Singers, tune in for the Queen's funeral, you will always see a former choral scholar from here there. And I know my colleagues and people like Harry Christopher says to me, really love singers from Royal Holloway because they're flexible, they're adaptable, they're keen. They always want to work and deliver the extra mile, I think. The danger with a lot of music making in this country is we work very fast. Lots of the time we don't have enough of a budget to spend hours and hours and hours rehearsing. We have to work fast, so our orchestras and our choirs are famous for that. There's a danger that sometimes we're not quite willing to want to go the extra mile that we need to do. So I think there's a healthy balance here, perhaps, of trying to do some things quickly so that we keep our brains working, but then developing towards a recording contract or whatever, and really, really getting inside the music so that we feel it's ours. But whether you want a career in music or not, these are all really, really good transferable skills. What you've just been doing today, team building exercise. I mean, this is what companies take their employees to go and do, to build a team, to build confidence, and all of those sort of things. So I'm also very proud of all our choral scholars that have gone on to be mortgage brokers, estate agents, air traffic controller. I'm trying to think of a few others. We've got 3 police detectives at the moment, haven't we, from recent graduates? I'm not sure what that tells you. So this really prepares you for anything, whether it's music or not. So it's busy, it's hard work. It's at least 10, 11 hours a week, I think, of sort of rehearsals and concerts and things like that. Everybody enjoys being part of the team here, and I think becoming a part of a kind of musical family that is just an important part of everyone's life at the university and when they leave. Just to sort of talk about a few other things that we do. We are very busy with recordings. I've been working out recently, despite the pandemic, We've released 2 or 3 albums plus a single every year for the last 3 years or so. Way more than anybody else, I think. This term, Decca phoned us up, the week after the Queen's funeral, asked if we could record 2 items within the next 3 days. So we did. And they'll be released very, very soon. We're just preparing another project for Decca, recording with Ola Yelo again, and the RPO Orchestra. So that's a really big project, which we're very pleased to be part of, because the previous album with Ola Yelo has sold millions. So I'm pleased to say that, if you look at Spotify, the number of streams of our music has gone up by 2 million just in the last year. So, as a choir, I don't think anyone else is really sort of pumping that amount of music out at the moment. But we love the live music making as well. We're also preparing for the Messiah, which we usually do every year, and with the choir stepping out and doing the solos as well. Again, as you hear from the ensembles, everyone's a soloist within the choir, so that's to be encouraged. And we love working with different groups, brass groups, orchestras. We're going to be working with a jazz trio again later this year, so really quite a wide variety. That's probably enough of me talking. Actually, can I invite Esme and Ellie just to say a few words? It's all very well me talking about life here, but it's worth just getting the perspective of choral scholars. So there's a balance. We've got Ellie who's in the 3rd year, survived 3 years, yes, and Esme who's just started. Do you want to go first, Esme?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Esme, and I'm in the 1st year, so coming up to about 2 months I've been in the choir, and it's very different from school. Like a week's worth of music here is like a term's worth at school, so it's quick, it's fast-paced, you're thrown straight in. But I think what I really love about the choir was it was just the most welcoming group of people that I'd experienced ever. And the music is all kinds of styles, you can never get bored. And Rupert's obviously as well very supportive conductor. The rehearsals are fun, quick-paced, and we've got great opportunities with obviously the recordings and services every week. And it's about 12 hours, so it's a big commitment, but it's great to have something throughout uni as well as your degree, because other than that there is quite a lot of free time, so signing up to this definitely keeps me busy. So yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, and I would say, so obviously Esme, we're only in the 1st year, and I've had 3 years of this now, and as you said, 10, 12 hours, it allows you to achieve so much. As we were saying, I think I've done 4 CD recordings since 3rd year, so we've all done 4 CD recordings since we've been here. Done 6 BBC Broadcast Evening songs. We get to go into London loads. We did the Messiah at Cadogan Hall last year, which was incredible, and we did St John Passion a few months later. But then equally, as Rupert said, we got to have Paul Phoenix come over from the Kingsingers, which was so cool. And we did loads of secular music, and it was really fun. We got to go around ensembles. It was really fun to just complete switch up. My group were doing Mr. Sandman. It was great fun. So I say, as much as it's 10 to 12 hours, it's well worth your time to get to do everything that we get to do.
Thanks, guys. Well, look, we're here to sing. Why don't we sing something? We've been talking about Ola Yelo, so why don't you join us? Because we're just working with some pieces at the moment. What about autumn, seeing as it is indeed autumn? So I think we've given you a little booklet which has got a few of Ola's pieces in. I fear not. Sorry. Oh. Sorry. Let's have a read through this, shall we? Why is that not always a good thing? Do we like the key of A minor? What's wrong with the key of A minor? Or A's? In general, A's, they just often sound a little bit flat. Yeah. And the minor key, remember that certainly, for hundreds of years, minor keys did not mean sad music at all. This is a kind of recent concept we have, the minor keys for sad days and etc. Not true. And especially if we temper the tuning, which again happened for hundreds of years, and we've kind of killed that in the last 100 years. But when we're singing, we can temper the tuning. So we can just make the C's a little bit brighter. If I could just ask, where can we do it? If I could ask the basses to sing an A and an E, and the tenors, the tenors an A, and the altos an E. Could you sing that for me? Just an R. Good. Tune it by just making the E's just a tiny, tiny bit brighter. Good. Now, sopranos, can you sing a C where you think it wants to sit on that chord? That's a D. When we make it bright enough, in Baroque periods, they talked about the keys being sweet. A minor key is sweet. So if you make the minor keys as that little bit brighter, will make a big difference. Let's go back to the beginning. So with Ola, this is slightly kind of choral pop music. It kind of needs to fit to a clip track. It's slightly manufactured in a way, and actually the sound that you need to make this music work is slightly manufactured. So fewer breaths, long vowels, really smooth sound, and everything feeling like it's absolutely moving together. Should we sing that again? Good. Altos, just make your presence felt, because you've got them moving. The light becomes. That's just your moment of glory for one quaver. Let's make it count. Yeah, from the beginning. Good. space here once again. That's not projecting the sound, but it is opening the vowel, giving it a little bit more resonance. And here, altos, yes, and. Good. Yeah, yeah. The next thing I'd be encouraging is really listen. So let's match the vowels. In fact, just sing only vowels for 1 minute. Forget about consonants. Here we go. 2 and. If you just lift those top notes a little bit more, it would be even better for tuning. Okay, let's put the words back in and really listen and match all the vowels. Here we go. 2 and. Good. The next thing I'd be encouraging, particularly with the sopranos, would be for you to be singing facing each other. And when we face each other, we can start to see what we're all doing with our mouth shapes, which are all very, very different at the moment. If you look at all the, the professional small ensembles, your King Singers, Virtuos 8, all the rest of them, their mouth movements will be the same. And that ensures that we're getting the same kind of vowels and the same treatment of the text, which absolutely transforms the sound completely. Look, just sing with the last page, and even without looking at each other, maybe just think about just trying to open up. In my heart a song. We just want to make as much space for the sound as possible. All right? So this is the last page, and then I think we're done with this. It's very autumnal. We do have some more cheery music as well, but I feel we're running out of time there. But I'd like to just open up to any questions in the room and also any questions at home. Ruben, are you monitoring the YouTube? Fantastic. Has anybody got any questions for me or indeed for any of the choir, any of the singers? Yes. Both. So lectures obviously take precedence during the day. Wednesday afternoons there shouldn't be any lectures, so Wednesday afternoons are given over to sport and music and other things. So we have a main rehearsal usually on a Wednesday afternoon. We're also a little bit clever, so I monitor everyone's timetable, and if I see a gap that we can use, then we sometimes try and do that, because we all work better in the day than we do in the evening. And at the weekend a little bit. Nothing? No? No? Well, if there are no questions, that's usually a good thing. It means that we've explained things quite well. Well, in that case, and please just spend a few minutes to think. You might have another burning question in a few minutes. Why don't we sing that Macmillan piece, just to finish with? See if you can still remember it. The rest of you just want to take a seat. So this is a piece by James Macmillan, and which I'm hoping they remember. We were asked to sing. We were asked to record this earlier this term, and only had 2 days to learn it. So you notice a different formation as well. This is quite important as well, not to necessarily have the choir in exactly the same formation. So this piece by James Macmillan is very polyphonic, and I think you want to hear the voice parts equally, and not necessarily have the basses at the back and that sort of thing. So that's why we have the voice parts blocked. Where is it? Thank you, everybody. As I said, that was a piece we had to learn quite fast. Should be released on a CD at the beginning of December. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. As I say, if you've got any further questions, just please come and ask. or email if you get home and immediately think, oh, I wish I'd asked that. We're always open for anybody who's got any queries. And thank you. And I know there are one or two organists here as well. And if you want to stay behind, come and meet me, and I can take you onto the organ, and you can spend some time playing as well. So thank you, everybody. Thank you online. Thank you, everybody in the room. Thank you, choir. Okay. I forgot to say, if anyone's interested, you may have had lots of tours today, you may have already had that as a part of an open day, but if you haven't and you want to be shown around parts of the campus, these guys will help you out. If you're interested, come and see them, and they'll happily take you around the sites.